here. This lady came and joined our supervision and appraisal training. She was sitting there and we were waiting for a couple of people to join us. And she said, "This is first aid training, isn't it?" And I said, "No." There you go. And I said, "Well, I tell you what, why don't you get yourself along to the Ignite conference?" So, and you've just said it's much better. Here you are, here you are. Okay, so I'm Lynn Kennedy, I'm the Learning and Development Manager for MacIntyre. So how's your day been so far? Brilliant, that's fantastic, brilliant. And you know what, isn't it fantastic that we can all get together again? And I was so disappointed I couldn't be here for the whole day. But obviously I had other diary commitments, but Laura managed to get me here for this afternoon, so really pleased. So I just wanted to talk to you, and I'm not going to keep you any, I don't want to take too much of your time, just 10 minutes so that we're not keeping you at the end, because obviously Sarah's going to chat. But I just wanted to talk about you and really how important you are in our organisation. Laura asked me a question when I was kind of putting these couple of slides together, is what makes me really proud to work in health and social care. So I just want to ask a couple of shouts out. On this table, what makes you proud? Just a shout out, don't be shy. It's rewarding, so why is it rewarding? What makes it rewarding? Making a difference, no day is the same. Yeah, have we got any other comments from anyone? Don't stay quiet, I'll come and find you. This table here, did you say something? Don't go shy, don't go shy. Okay, so those two things that you come up with, I too come up with, we can actually make a massive difference, can't we, to somebody's lives? And it's not just about those big things. Catherine spoke before about it's the smaller things, isn't it? It's about growing and developing those smaller things. And it goes a long, long way to developing those relationships that we need to have. So, we do so much in the day. We've all got very different roles, but we do so much with the time that we've got. And actually, if you can go home and just kind of think about one thing that you made a difference about in that day, and you continue to do that each and every day of your working life, you'll soon have a whole portfolio of things that you can share. Who said that? No 2 days are the same. I think that was you, wasn't it? No 2 days are the same. Every situation is unique. So how many people can actually go to their job and say no 2 days are the same? I know a lot of people, I've got a lot of friends and a lot of family who've worked in the same industries for many years, and it becomes a little bit mundane. But actually we're really fortunate and that doesn't happen. And do we get to laugh a lot? We absolutely do. We laugh a lot and we have fun, and that's laughing a lot alongside colleagues and people we support, or laughing, just about the great things that we do and we learn and we know about each and every day. We meet lots of different people and we absolutely learn from each other, don't we? Yeah? Our skills such as kind, warmth, sensitivity and friendliness come to life. How often do I hear myself describing somebody as, she's a really warm person, she's kind, she's got some lovely, lovely traits and people skills. There's not many industries that we actually recognise those areas, and of course that's within our DNA as well, isn't it? Okay, so many exciting job opportunities, wow. You've heard about all of the specialist groups, all of the projects that we're working on, so please do get yourself involved. And if you've heard something today and you think I want to know a little bit more, please do get in touch with one of the best practice team, because there's some fantastic things going on. And I'm still yet to get to the big roast, but I definitely will be there before the end of the year. Okay, but it really is in our, in our organisation, I'm incredibly proud that there is always opportunity to learn. There's always opportunity to grow and to develop in our roles. And I've worked with MacIntyre probably longer than, actually since before some of you were even born. So I've been here 29 plus years, coming up to 30 in April. And when I started in our organisation, I started as a support worker and I absolutely loved my job. I loved the job that I did. And I progressed to a senior practitioner, then to a frontline manager, then area manager, but I always had a passion for learning, always had a passion for learning and developing my staff. The staff teams that worked, you know, day in, day out in our services, just as you do. And that's when I got seconded for 6 months over 20 years ago, and I'm still here in learning and development. But it is really about you thinking about yourselves and what is it that you aspire to be? What is it where do you see yourself in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, 5 years' time? And how do you know that you're ambitious for yourself? How do you know what is it that spurs you? What is it that makes you get up every morning and wants to be the absolute best that you can be? And we talk about ambition being a strong desire and having a real determination to succeed. So what kinds of, things help you to be the absolute best that you can be? What do you do right now? Is anyone prepared to give me a comment? How can you be the best you possibly can be? Or what supports you to be? Oh, you're all very quiet. Yeah, working alongside like-minded people. Who can support you to be the best you absolutely can be? Having a great manager, yeah, having a good manager that gets you to think, that talks with you, that meets with you regularly, that thinks about you and knows what's important to you. And you please do work with your manager or work with somebody from the L&D team. They can help you to come up with a plan, a learning plan. Where are you right now? What are you ambitious to be? Is it one of the great projects that you've heard about today? Do you want to become a part of that? What's holding you back? And if you think, I could do with a bit more confidence in communication, or I could do with a bit more training in different areas, then please do talk to your line manager. They'll identify those learning and development needs that you may have, and also talk about the best way to learn, because pen and paper isn't the best option for all of us, is it? Some people prefer to use dictaphones, some people prefer to use laptops, but unless you're telling your manager that, we can't support you to be able to do it. I remember going back some years ago, and we had what I would say is one of the best support workers I've ever worked with, ever. And we supported her to register onto what was then the MBQs. It shows you how old I am. When she came back, she went, I can't do that course, Lynn. I cannot do that course. They want me to build a profiterole, and I can't cook. And because she was so anxious and so nervous, they actually said, we'll support you to build your portfolio. But she got so tongue-tied and twisted that actually I was able to sit her down and calm her and, get her to understand that actually it isn't a profiterole that she wants you to build, it's a portfolio. Okay, so, and do you really know what's available to you? Oh, it's gone quiet again. So you do know your mandatory training, because we've each got our tiles, haven't we, on our LMS that tell us what we must do. But what else? You've heard all the great stuff again that come out of today and what's available. But do you really, really know what's available to you for you to be able to progress and move on in each of your roles? So we talk about the importance of keeping on learning. And we are very, very keen to support people through career pathways, and we hopefully do that not as much as we wish to, and maybe not as formal as we want to, but we're going to improve ourselves on that, both in adult services and young children and young people. And Nikki Payne, you are here somewhere. Give me a wave. You to me are a fabulous example of how we supported somebody on a career pathway, but it wasn't particularly formal. It was me and you and Chris and Jackie, I think, was involved, and your line manager, and how we made that happen. So please do, if there's a specialist area that you've got a real keen interest in, you've heard about lots of those today, or actually is it a certification or a qualification that you'd like to undertake but you're not sure who to talk to. And these are just a few examples of how we can support you if you wish to progress in your roles. But there may be other areas. Sarah often talked about, actually, you know, we've got people working in adult services, but would you like to know what it's like to work in a children's provision or in one of the children's homes, or, you know, there's lots and lots of opportunities, but unless you're having those conversations with your line managers, we can't, you know, we won't really know. So were people aware that these things were available to them? Ish, yeah, fabulous. I mean, we're just putting a programme of support in place. Have we got anybody from? It's not Southampton, but I always call it Southampton. Lane End House. Anybody from Lane End? Oh, hello. Yes. The guys there were really struggling to get themselves onto the qualifications they wish to do, and I don't have a massive resource in that area, but because of that we've put a plan in place that six people, I think, isn't it, Alex, are going to be supported through different levels of the qualification. We're going to do that using a blended approach of, you know, kind of Zoom, observations from the manager, and then support from my team to go down there as well. So please do think about yourselves. We are ambitious for you, and we want you to be ambitious for yourselves. So there's lots out there and lots available. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Any questions? No? You don't have to have questions at all. And if you want to contact me rather than ask me a question, then please do. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Lynn. I can't believe there was no questions for Lynn.
I know, I can't. I never not get asked questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Clicker, you can just leave it on the stage. It's fine. Well, we have made up some time. It's been a lovely day. I know we've been in this room for a few hours, but we've saved the best till last, he says. And I'd like to invite onto the stage our Chief Executive, Sarah Burson. So would you give her a warm MacIntyre welcome? Come on, guys, we can do better. Just stay down.
Thanks, Seb. I'm going to stay down here because A, I absolutely hate being on stage, and B, I want to be able to see all of you, and I understand up there the lights are a bit dazzling. So wow, have you had a good day?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm just doing some closing remarks and some reflections, and I was saying to somebody earlier, that's a bit fraudulent, that picture. That was taken about 10 years ago. So yeah, so first of all I want to say huge thank yous. So thank you to everyone who has been involved in preparing for today. Thank you to all the amazing contributors. It's been amazing. I wasn't here for the first session, but I hear that Marty came was pretty fantastic. So thank you to everybody who's been involved. But a huge thank you for coming today. Please do pass on my thanks to all of your colleagues who weren't able to make it, and a huge thank you for everything that you've done over the last couple of years. It's not been an easy few years, has it? So I hope today has been a little bit of respite from what has been a challenging couple of years. So I haven't prepared to talk to you about my journey, because I didn't realise that was sort of the theme for the day. But I've been quite wowed, just in terms of when I've been going around the table talking to people, just how many years that we have under our belts together. So I thought I was going to trump everybody by saying I've worked for MacIntyre for 30 years, but I think Lynn and I started around the same time, didn't we, Lynn? But I've done a quick calculation while I've been sitting there having talked to people, and I've calculated at least 300 years. So cumulatively, people who've done, hands up, people who've done between 10 and 15 years for MacIntyre, and 15 to 20. I mean, quite a few people I hadn't quite appreciated. So that's a lot of knowledge. 21. How many?
21.
21. Any advance on 21? And Anita? 22. Mel? How many, Mary?
22.
22. Brilliant. 30. Who's that? Who's done 30? Oh, Nicola, yeah, we were talking earlier. So that's a huge amount of time. So, and you've heard people's journeys. Most people have started in one job and then moved to other jobs, and I'm no different. So I started in Leicester as a project worker. I've worked as area manager, regional director, managing director, and chief exec. So as Lynn has just said, I really do want to emphasise that, you know, if you start your journey with MacIntyre and you want to have different experiences, you want to progress, you want to have a sideways move, there are opportunities within MacIntyre, and we've heard so much about that today, and I've spoken to various people who I don't think were quite aware of those opportunities. So do shout, do put your hands up, talk to your manager, talk to anybody about, you know, having a different experience within MacIntyre. So amazing. So I've made a few notes for what you've been doing today. So today was really around trying to reset. It's been a tricky couple of years, and I don't know about you, but every time I turn on the television, every time I listen to the radio, there's all talk about social care being in crisis. And I don't want to undermine or underplay some of the challenging circumstances we're working in, but I don't think MacIntyre is in crisis. I think what we've heard today is just demonstrative of MacIntyre is thriving. And we're thriving because of you, so massive thank you. And, yeah, really good clap. So, as I said, I don't want to undermine the challenging circumstances we are facing as a country, but I guess we have two options, really. We can say it's all too tough, it's all too difficult, the issue around salaries is too difficult, the issue around recruitment is too difficult, it's just too difficult, we're just going to pack up and go home. Or we can say, which is what I think we are saying, actually no, we are going to change the narrative because we are not in crisis, we are thriving. And we will continue to thrive and we will continue to find a path through these difficult times. So I know that Seb and Laura are really passionate about celebrating everything that's amazing, all the amazing things you do. It's important to celebrate that. It's important for us to move forward with that optimism and ambition, and I think you've managed to achieve that today, so huge thank you. We've heard from Sue and colleagues around the DNA and around the big plan, and I know for some of you, that's the first time that you've seen some of those images, you've heard about the big plan, and sometimes we can make it far more complicated than it actually is. So I just want to repeat a story that I'm sure you've all already heard. I think it's important just to keep the message very simple. So you all heard of Ken and Marjorie Newton-Wright? Yeah. So 60 years ago, Ken and Marjorie Newton-Wright were told that their son, who was 5 at the time, was not able to access education because he had a learning difficulty and therefore he wasn't capable of learning. They were also told that actually, why don't you place your son in an institution? So 60 years ago, what was available to people with learning disabilities was the thought that you cannot be educated and you will live in an institution. And quite rightly, Ken and Marjorie said that we're not accepting that. So they created MacIntyre. So when you're looking at our DNA and our big plan, just remember what Ken and Marjorie Newton-Wright were set up. They set up an organisation that was ambitious for their son. Now sadly their son died before MacIntyre School was developed, but other people attended that school and they were ambitious. They said actually everybody is capable of learning. And the second thing that they said was, we're not going to put our son away, we are going to ensure that our son lives in an environment that is compassionate and kind. So whilst I love the new DNA and it tells a real story, that's really all you need to know. So when you're going about doing what you do, just imagine, as I do, Ken and Marjorie on your shoulder, and ask yourself, am I being ambitious for everybody who I'm spending time with? Am I being kind? Am I being compassionate? And watch other people and take responsibility for ensuring that everything that we do collectively is ambitious, is kind and compassionate. So that's really what our DNA is all about, our DNA, our shared value base. So in terms of observations for today, so some key messages. I think a key one was just try and walk in other people's shoes. And I think that's something that as a MacIntyre employee we all do very, very well. And I think the other key message is just appreciate that we all have very similar needs, we all have talents, we all have interests, we all have skills, and make sure that we don't other people. So when we're looking at what we do and how we do it, just people are people. So it's just important that we recognise that everyone's the same. We've talked a lot about the opportunities within MacIntyre. So as I said earlier, and as Lynn's saying, do shout if you want to pursue other opportunities within MacIntyre. So I hope you've been inspired today. Have you been inspired?
Woo!
Yep. I hope you've been inspired. I hope that you all have learned something. I hope you're going to go back to wherever you're going back to, feeling inspired and thinking, actually, I can continue to make a difference. So the lasting sort of message I want to sort of share with you is don't accept the crisis narrative, because actually, if we all do that, we'll just go under. So the message is MacIntyre is thriving. We're thriving because of you, because of its people. It really is all about people. And it's been lovely to meet you, and thank you very much. I think we've got some prizes now, have we?